So the next one, grounding techniques. So again, let me explain to you why this is so important. In that moment where you are being triggered, whether you're aware of it or conscious of it or not, sometimes you can be conscious, sometimes it takes a little bit of digging, but there are a bunch of thoughts going around in your mind that are usually negative. And that's why there are these strong negative emotions as well, or difficult emotions. So these are the thoughts, the negative thoughts that are basically being born or created by the limiting beliefs, aka negative voice. So what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to separate ourselves from those thoughts, create distance between, create like a conscious awareness distance between ourselves and those thoughts. Because if those thoughts are there, if we are in the midst of those thoughts, it's going to be very hard for us not to react to them, not to look at them, not to be triggered by them, not to be controlled by them. And just as a perfect example, in general, if I were to ask you what's worse, reality or what's going on in your mind, you'd probably say what's going on in my mind. Like 9 times out of 10, we're thinking about real scary shit, stuff that like may never happen, so on and so forth. So that's exactly what grounding techniques do. It pulls our awareness and our focus away from what's going on inside of here and into reality. If you were to imagine, I don't know, your awareness or your consciousness as a first person character, you are basically pulling it away from what's going on in here and you are bringing it forward to the front of your eyes and you're bringing it to the reality of what's around you. I'll offer this one to you. Well, let me use Susanna's thing as a little segue. One way to bring groundedness into reality is textually. So whether it be usually food or water or something like that is a good way to do it, where you are playing with, feeling, smelling, touching, experiencing an object of some kind. So also, by the way, that's what like stress balls are for. As Susanna said, she drinks water and she brings a lot of her focus to it, so on and so forth. So any way where you are bringing your focus and attention to something outside of you. Very powerful grounding technique, which some of you may have heard of before, is the 5 senses technique. So what this technique is basically using all 5 senses, but in conjunction with each other. So I'm going to take you through it now, and then I'm going to ask you a very specific question. So I'm going to ask you to try and do it as close to how I explain it now as possible. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through 5 senses. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. Now, just a couple of important notes before we go into this. When you are looking, you're looking. When you are touching, you are literally touching and feeling. When you're hearing, hear. When you smell, literally grab something you need to smell. If you need to like lift up your arm or something, do that too. Anything you can smell where you can create like a different smell. And then when you're tasting, something to taste. Lick your finger if you need to, grab a cup of coffee, whatever. Here's what it's going to look like. I'll give you the first one. 5 things you can see. What you're going to do is you're going to notice 5 things you can see and you're going to describe it. And you're going to move through them. So like, for example, actually before I do that, let me tell you what not to do. Here's what I do not want you to do. Light, bottle, floor, red thing, black bag. You're not bringing enough focus or attention to it. You're literally just going through it and not bringing awareness away from your thoughts. So this is where the description becomes really important. Softbox light. It's got a white cover over it. It's quite bright. It's got a black stand. Water bottle. It's half full. The lid is blue. There's some ridges on it. So you really want to bring your focus and attention and describe it in detail or as much as you can. Very important pro tip on here too. We're talking facts. We're describing what we can factually see. We're not bringing anything else thought-wise into this. So we're not being like, water bottle, sometimes I like to drink it when it's a hot day. That's bringing your thoughts into it. That's not like a factual thing that you can see in reality. Because remember, we're taking our mind away from thoughts. So we're bringing it to what's actually here in front of us. Same stuff for the other ones. 4 things you can touch. Describe the feeling. So feeling my arm, the hair feels soft. There's a lot of it and it's a little bit dry, whatever, right? I don't know if it's dry or not, but anyway. Same with the 3 things you can hear. This one's really important. This one, you're going to be able to really feel that shift in awareness and bringing away from your thoughts. Close your eyes, I'd invite you to do. And at first, you might only hear 1 or 2 things. When you sit and you genuinely bring your focus to the world around you, you're going to start to pick up on a lot of different sounds. It's almost like you're going deeper into the awareness of reality. And then describe the sounds if you can. 2 things you can smell. Describe the smell. Really bring in that smelling flavor, I don't know, scent. And then 1 thing you can taste. Again, if you can throw in that extra thing of like, oh, what's the texture of this taste? If you have like food in your mouth or the coffee or whatever. But in general, just describe that taste. So I'm going to walk you through this now, and we're going to practice it together, and I'm going to ask you a very important question afterwards. One more thing that's important, in between each sense, no break. So you're going straight from the 5 things you can see into the 4 things you can touch, into the 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. No breaks in between. So I'll remind you, and then we'll go into it. So just a practice session. Go ahead and start looking at and describing 5 things you can see. Oh, sorry, another little pro tip. If you do say it out loud, it'll be easier for you too, because you're focusing both on what you say and what you think. And then as soon as you get to that last one, straight into 4 things you can touch and physically touch it and describe the feeling. And as soon as you touch those 4 things, straight into 3 things you can hear. Describe the sound. I'd invite you to close your eyes as you do that. And as you're listening, you're welcome to use my voice as one, but as you're listening, see if you can notice that shift in 1 or 2 things you can hear, and then all of a sudden, the reality or the world around you opening up and all the different sounds you can hear. And once you've done that, straight into 2 things you can smell. And once you finish that, straight into 1 thing you can taste. Maybe it's something you ate earlier. I'd be very impressed if you can distinguish the taste in your mouth. Otherwise, just grab something, give it a lick, see how it tastes. So my question to you to really just solidify this understanding and to show you. As you did that, in that space of those 5 senses, were you thinking about anything else other than the focus on those 5 senses and the things in the world around you? Kind of, but no. Some no, some kind of, right? If it's kind of, don't worry, it's a practice. Again, that just means most likely not enough attention was being brought into the reality. If no, 100%, that's the point. The whole point of that is to bring your thoughts or your focus, your attention, your consciousness, your awareness away from the thoughts into reality. Even if it's just for those 5 senses, what a fucking relief, right? What a break. Like what a breath of fresh air to not be around those like scary thoughts for such a long time. That's a practice. The more you practice that, it becomes like a muscle. You can start doing that naturally. You will start to basically, again, in general, without even trying, create distance between your awareness and your thoughts that are going on inside your mind, which is a really good thing.